Okay. Hi, my name is Catherine. The research I'm doing is called Vertical Village in the heart of Auckland CBD. The project outline, the intention of this project is to find the architectural solutions for the future living and workplace in Auckland CBD, aiming to achieve the minimization in commute by design. In that way, these architectural solutions can reduce personal workstations and release all the employees from only one. Balance the two most time-consuming activity in our life, living and working. Improve the traffic congestion in Auckland CBD during the peak hour, giving significant environmental and social benefits. The project is about to bring back the principle of model village in a smaller scale and also apply the idea of office town concept into the same building based in Auckland CBD. The scheme is envisioned as the hybrid programs that combine not only the office space and compact residential unit, but also the self-contained community. The vertical village concept does not only encourage the communication, strengthening the sense of community. Moreover, the design particularly attaches the importance of both quality of living and productivity of employees. My research question is, the main question is how could the architectural design change the way of employee working and living in the future? And so it leads to the sub-questions. How could the principle of model village be reapplied for the modern and future architectural practice? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of this design projects that promise to improve the quality of living and working environment within the same buildings? And how could the concept of office town and principle of model village supplement each other in the future design that will change the way of employee working and living? So the first problem is about Auckland, the location I chose in Auckland CBD. Auckland CBD has been focused to be leading New Zealand business and economic development. The initiation of building projects which mostly occupy for the commercial and residential purpose is growing progressively in Auckland CBD. Due to the high migration, net flow, and blooming of business activity, this building project appear to be essential in order to capture the society demand and also adapt the population growth. Therefore, leading the rise of land value and demand of residential is an office space essential that do not only make the low-income employee can be affordable to live in CBD, but also become a big problem for the investor. The traffic congestion therefore become a high burden for the employee who must to commute to and from work in Auckland CBD, especially on Queen Street during the peak hour. It has affected the employee commuting issues and also their productivities. The second problem is about workplace in CBDs. Nowadays, the technologies allow the employee to work effectively wherever they are. The large number of organizations also support their employees by providing flexible workplace to adapt the trend of business process. With many people now working longer hours, it has become increasingly important to their work to fit around their commitment, family, and social life. The flexible time has to be offered by all employers if their worker provide a good case for it. But with the increase in technologies, the traditional office become a superfluous as increasingly remote worker and home working become more realizable. We move to the live and work concept. Living about the workplace is original of the live-work concept that could be found in many countries over the world. Live-work concept is combination of residential and commercial in single unit or building. The first type of lift work is home occupation. This is where a business or work activity occur at home and the residential take place. It's normally located in, within the resident areas and according to the Auckland Council, the number of employees must not more than one person in the lot. And it involves the retail, it involves no retail sale for the lot other than handcraft goods produced by on the properties. And it must cause no noise, smoke, or increase traffic and impact the parking. The second type of lift work used is lift work. The predominance used for residents and the working purpose is secondaries. This type it must have a separation of between workplace and residence, but some area may share, like dining area. We can use it for conference room, and it's located everywhere in the urban and intensity, but not lower density of residents. The final type of lift work is work lift type. The predominant use for workplace and residence is secondary, allows noise and other impact, allow number of employees and trader and sale as well. The purpose of use for lift work is open. There are three types of proximity type for lift work. The first one we call lift width. Lift width is work and resident in the same unit, a single level selling space or two level space in here. Sleeping area on the mezzanine and workspace below. This type of proximity is not suitable for employee work that cause noise and work with dangerous material, and is really limited number of employees. The second type is live near. This means living above the workspace, but separately by partitions and commute is a stairway and doors. This type allow the work go on with less distraction by visiting by the residents. And the last one is live nearby. The short work make of live nearby will separate living and working area in the separate unit and building, allow the number of employees working trades and clients to visit workspace without a permit. The second concept is called office tail. It means office and hotel. The concept is rooted from Korea. This concept of project save much cost and commute time for the owner, especially suited for the small and medium business who require a moderate area. And the complex units can operate for 24 hours, so people don't leave their house empty all day and office or empty all night. This type of design may mainly found in downtown and around the transportation hub. And it's very popular in Korea because occupants can live and work in the same building, and it's very convenient of having a daily routine located in one building. This president of office tower building is called G-Well. It has 700 apartment units, and also they can use that unit for a small office. The second concept is the model village. The model village is of which Bonville is on the south of Birmingham, England, is perhaps the best known what the type of self-contained community. The village was founded by George Cadbury in 19th century, who intended to move and expand his chocolate factory out of the Birmingham. The problem is from overcrowded population in-house can cause the insanity condition that forced Mr. Kepery to face a housing problem. Before the village formed, Mr. Kepery has given us the statement, and from that his symbol but power statement above the plan and village, the plan of the village was not only just about the chocolate factory, but also concerning the healthy life of the worker and their family too. From researching about the Bonville village, there's some principle contained. The site of the location of Bonville then was carefully selected, as this was the most important decisions, and it could impact the development of the village at a later stage. The number of centers, such as hospital, school, and recreations area, should be stated. The model village, Mr. George Kepery was successfully embraced the provision of his employee and also their next generations to continue to make the value of contributions of their contribution to these self-contained communities. The Kepery brothers recognized the benefit of providing healthy living and working environment to their workers to increase their productivity. The significant value to learn from the model village is not only lay out the design, but there is also more to learn about the social design for employees from the self-contained community. The underlying of design concept have proved the remarkably resilient. Indeed, it lived on through the Garden City and New Town throughout the world. The model village came into a variety of shape, size, and architectural style, but perhaps it's more interest than any physical design lesson. They imbue the aspirations for the hard work and self-improvement through the education. All these aspects recognize the benefit of horticulture and gardening, community learning, green infrastructure, and lifetime for neighbor. It could recognize more strongly in our design today. So the next stage for my methodological is doing the size selections and site analysis. Thank you.
That's it. Okay, thanks very much. Catherine?
So just like a half step back, whereabouts are we in the...
Yeah.
Oh, so this is the track,
This
sorry,
is-
proposal.
Okay,
Proposal,
very good.
yeah. So for candidature.
We're at one at the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Slightly concerned. Just all right. Very good.
Sorry, I didn't say that earlier.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
Yeah. Maybe, because we've actually talked a bit more...
Specific.
maybe- yeah, you talked...
Yeah, because it's quite a long research study, so I only have 10 minutes, like 15 minutes to read it. You mean you want me to talk about the idea?
Well, do you think it might be useful? We had quite a long conversation with Catherine, and she talked about maybe a site. Do you think it'd be useful for me to talk about that, or...?
Do you have a site or no?
We talked about one.
Yeah, we talked about the sites like Auckland CBD and why I want to make design a building in the center of Auckland.
Yeah. But have you had the site about the site or are you in the CBD?
Not specific where is in Auckland CBD, but just in general Auckland CBD.
Okay. So you're going to...
Maybe we should just kick off.
Yeah. You're going to... You've kind of started research and you're going to sort of start doing some design work soon. Is that's right?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Shh, Jen.
I mean,
Easy, quiet.
there's some great precedents there. I love the stuff that you're showing from Korea.
Oh, Korea.
What was that called? Office Tower.
Office too.
And
And then there was those little diagrams that you had with the, mezzanine and they're all kind of conventional. We understand those, but we don't build them. I mean, we understand them in this environment, but the city doesn't build them at all, does it? I mean, developers don't build them. So it's a great thing to look at, I think.
So the main idea, I choose the office tower because they design like 700 resident, also commercial in one unit. So people live there and they also can run their business if they just started, like start-up business. But they don't have, they lack of community, like people don't connect to each other. So I want to design the whole building, like which they contain the open workspace, and also the people can live above it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't waste the floor plan, like because I live in CBDs and the whole building will live empty at night.
Sure.
And we leave our house empty all day.
Yeah.
So I think you've set up like a unique challenge, which I think is interesting, because you identified two kind of exemplars. You've got the model village at one end of the spectrum, which is this kind of, kind of egalitarian, kind of parklands, kind of fatherly figure set it up, and there's a stronger focus on kind of social values and recreation and health and well-being.
Yeah.
And then you've got office tower at the other end of the spectrum, which just looks like a structure to kind of deliver money out of, or something. The idea of kind of living right next to where you work is both the same, but completely at other ends of the spectrum. So I think trying to find how you can deliver something which is has a stronger grounding in the principles that sit inside the model village, back inside the CBD, which is where something like the office tower would normally kind of sit. It's kind of interesting. I don't know what that looks like. So that's always good. Yeah.
Just like convert the whole village to the vertical village.
Actually, I like the idea of conversion, right? As in renovation, taking existing structures to see if you can adapt to them for model village, purposes. But, I mean, the obvious problems, and we all know about these, is there are no shops. You can't get things when you live in these, or there's no childcare, or
But this is solving a problem that doesn't need to be solved.
Exactly.
You can work in the city and you can live in the city.
Yeah, that's right.
Now.
Yeah, and it might be
And the distance between the two is actually good for your mental health.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that would be one of my kind of questions, is like, is this healthy?
Yeah.
And if it is, and you can justify that,
Yeah.
I think flesh that out a little bit more.
Yeah, so
because
that's-
personally, I don't know if I want to live at Auckland Council.
Yeah.
I'd get a little bit tired of that place.
Yeah, yeah.
And that might just be something that a few people think of when they listen to this option. So I think if you just kind of explain that a bit more, or kind of research it a bit more, that would be really interesting to kind of see.
Yeah, when I do the research for the model village, like for example the village from Cadbury, it's quite interesting that he cares about the employee health, and he doesn't want his employee to spend time in the club or something else after work. That's why he designed every cottage, like how area must have the garden in front, so the employee can gardening after work.
Yeah, I'd just be a little bit kind of sceptical with some of that stuff, because Cadbury also owned industry, and he kept his workers healthy for a reason, so they could work their asses off for him. And they were also paid low rent, but they were also paid really low wages. So there was a kind of very paternalistic, top-down, almost feudalistic kind of style of managing all of that and developing it. So he had another agenda, even though it worked well for maybe some people who worked there. So maybe just don't take some of those case studies from the Industrial Revolution at face value and dig a little bit deeper on them, because there are kind of other elements to them. But in saying that, picking up on some of the principles that existed and that came out of that would be good.
Yeah.
So does this new typology have a natural home? And if so, where is that? Because I just kind of taking a half step back, I kind of concede that you could kind of achieve maybe where you're getting to, or partially where you're getting to right now. just by working on Wellesley Street and living in Victoria or something.
But people don't, do they? I mean, isn't it something like 13% of people actually work in CBD? It's quite a small. Yeah. I mean, just a scenario. I mean, people can't afford a house. Housing unaffordability. I mean, it's just, even though agreeing with Genevieve, there's definitely concerns about paternalism. The boss is living on the top. Basically, this is you're getting a job and you're getting a place in town. You don't have to kind of
maybe
live
you
in
could
Pocono.
swing the angle, and because you mentioned something about small business before and people kind of starting up businesses, and New Zealand has a massive percentage of businesses that are small businesses. We have so many people start them up, and maybe a lot of them fall down as well. But maybe that's worth investigating. Maybe kind of limit or pull back the scope of what you're meaning by commercial. Maybe you could look at, I don't know, startups or something, and then housing to do with that. I don't know. I'm thinking out loud here, but is there something you could
But that is
follow
quite,
along
that
that
is
line?
quite a typical Kiwi Auckland models that live work. Those little industrial units, out the back of North Shore somewhere. You've got a little shop downstairs, a little kind of import-export thing downstairs, and live upstairs. So maybe it's like that, but it's in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe moving beyond just mixed use of work downstairs and live upstairs, and because there's that whole other side of public open space and open space full stop and all of that, and shopping and all of those other kind of amenities that you need, views, sunlight.
At the beginning, the main idea when I start thinking design, if I want to design like a building with maybe 20 storage, and I may use for in the middle of building is like open working space. So if I have if I'm the boss and I have like 10 of the employees, and I will leave them live upstairs, like live above it, and this save time to commute. Like like for example, they spend like 1 hour per day to commute from home into work, and this can save 10 days per year for traveling.
Yeah.
And they can use it for like extra hour work.
We've heard all those before, haven't we? All those statistics or something.
Yeah, but again, then there's also, I mean, I'm just trying to think of like what models exist right now, and maybe that might be an interesting thing for you to visually categorise how people work and where people live, because you've also got home-based businesses where people can live and work every day, and you can have employees so long as you've got enough parking, and you're essentially doing what you're talking about. But I know you're also talking about something else. So maybe I think that might be.
But do you see a lot of buildings, office buildings, live empty the whole night, and we don't use it?
Yeah. So, but then you could say a lot of residential buildings are left empty during the day, and flip that round. So, I guess all I'm saying is that your arguments are totally valid, and I think it's a really interesting subject. I'm just thinking maybe you just need to, I don't know, just kind of, just do a little bit of research of what the existing typologies are around working and living.
Yeah, I think.
And then I think you might maybe start seeing the pattern or seeing what's missing and that kind of stuff. Again, it's like we've talked about with virtually everyone here today, is using that design, that drawing, that kind of visual part of your brain, and put it on paper, and then you might start seeing something come out from that.
I think the most important thing I think is about the arrangement between living and working area in the same buildings is arrangement, like how you arrange both atmosphere, like people feel healthy when living and feel like productivity when working. Yeah.
Queenstown's an interesting place, isn't it? In that sense, where you've got a lot of people, youngish people, working in the service. And, a lot of them are transitory. They come from overseas to ski and all that kind of stuff, and they work in those restaurants and bars and so on. They've got nowhere to stay, and so a typology could be developed in that very particular environment.
Hot bedding.
Well, that's there you go, hot bedding. Yeah, it's already been invented, isn't it? Yeah. And maybe what Matthew's saying is that there are similar sorts of needs in Auckland as well, and perhaps you draw those out, and that they might inform what you eventually do, you know. So in other words, you go and have a look at how it's already being used or how it works already.
And I think one of the things I kind of jotted down here is that getting some definite, and I think kind of knocking on the door, but getting some definition about what it means to be part of a village, because I think that's one of the things you could say if you looked at the typologies that are on offer in the CBD at the moment. Then you're certainly not part of a village at all, and so that might be some of the differentiators between me working on Victoria Street and living on Hobson Street might be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So what does it mean to live in a village?
Paint us a picture of scenarios in Auckland at the moment of the need, like the rationale.
Yep. Okay.
And a bit like a village, you know, you've got all kinds of people at all kinds of stages of life with numbers of children and not so much with children and stuff like that. So, you know, that's probably one of the criticisms of the CBD at the moment. Is it kind of caters really well, but for a pretty small part of the population, well, that's the perception and a bit of a reality as well. So, but a village is a bit more than that, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's intergenerational.
Yeah.
It's a bit more diverse.
Got pets as well, you know.
Yeah.
How do you deal with pets?
Yeah.
The pet floor.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Cafes, that's
and
what you
there
want.
is lots of research out there looking into that. Of, you know, there's I can't remember the people. I can always send you the New Zealand Herald article later. That interviewed a whole lot of apartment dwellers over a very long period of time, asking them about the quality of life and quality of community.
Oh yeah.
In those buildings, and it's very interesting what comes out of that and their answers, and that would kind of help you
Okay, that's
figure out
good.
what it means to
Thanks.
be in a village and what people in those urban forms are missing out on.
Who did that study?
I can't remember. It might have been like Beacon Pathways, or it might have been like University of Auckland. I can't remember. I do know the article though, so I can always send that through.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Cesar? We'd like to hear what people are saying. Because what Catherine came to us with this idea, or it's something common in Korea, to have this living and working arrangement for the same place. Saying that, well, that's fantastic, we can solve a lot of problems. And my reaction was, well, let's see. You know, that's why we kind of, appoint her to see this model village. You know, that is not all good. So you have a lot of issues, and what are the kind of issues that this kind of arrangement of living together and working together can generate?
Yeah.
Because of course, let's say, well, the boss live on the top.
Yeah.
And then you go to the supermarkets with your boss, which kind of relationship you
Yeah.
have there?
Right.
Still
Yeah.
the same hierarchy that you have inside of the
Every downstairs, get
Yeah.
up! You got stuff to do.
Exactly. And what if he forgot his
Sure you're
wallet
sick.
at the cash
your
at the
kids,
counter?
your kids on the same school and the kids of your boss,
Yeah.
they fight. How do you deal with that?
Exactly.
You understand? So that's what I wanted her to see it.
But I think in the
To
startup
have a
business,
critical view of the thing, not just to kind of and look to other models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, another thing that I told you is about to live on this and to live and to work on this vertical environment. And I think Rancudas has been writing about that.
Yeah.
Delirious New York, you know, how people live on this kind of confined, and how do you have all this kind of relations, but not this, but all these kind of activities that happen inside of this place. It's working, it's living, but it's also entertainment, it's also business in the sense of shops.
Yeah.
Because we are talking about this also, that's kind of a self-contained place. You know? So I think you have to do this kind of thing, so that even the Unité d'habitation,
Yeah, we know check.
you know, it's also kind of
Unité de habitation. It has a
Habitation,
street through the, it's a block,
Street.
but it has a street through
Street
the
in the
middle.
middle.
Yeah,
Right.
And a roof
you have a
garden
garden
on
on the top, you have a
Childcare
street business
centre.
in the
Like a
middle.
cruise liner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cruise
so
line,
there we go,
exactly,
problem
yeah.
solved.
But I mean, but we also have to say, I mean, the building's actually going to be in the city, so if you
Yeah.
you can actually go down and go out
Take a
the door
walk.
and
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
pint of milk and go to the library.
So I
and
think
blah,
these
blah,
are the
blah.
issues that you have to investigate.
They're very real issues, aren't they? I mean, it's a fantastic project because it's
It's connected to what's happening in Auckland,
Yeah.
apartments, housing,
yeah.
the commutes is going to get worse and worse and worse. People are living in Pocono, so I do think it's definitely connected to stuff that's going on. Whether we're all kind of nervous about it, but I think maybe you're throwing the glass of cold water in our face, saying, wake up.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's a silly question, but are there, because I'm not an architect, but are there kind of technical reasons why building typologies tend to have above ground floor anyway a kind of a single use? An office building is an office building, and a residential building is largely a residential building, or is that not
reason,
right?
No reason at all.
No.
I mean, you've got fire code and things like that to
that's
address,
right,
but
yeah.
not really.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I
just
like the
laziness.
idea
It's
of
not
office tower, but I don't like the how they arrange, like how they design only single unit, but people come and work.
Yeah.
Like that's not. I think that's unhealthy life.
Don't forget that families of different shapes, sizes,
Yeah.
and so one.
At some stage.
They've got to be all different.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
suitable for a
Yeah.
single person.
That's right. Yeah.
That's a good question though. I mean, at some stage, column layout versus, an open space. Like, we had that terrible example in New Lynn, the new apartment building,
Yeah.
Max built, which is basically an office tower
Yeah.
configuration with columns,
Yeah.
and then suddenly someone's got a column in the bedroom.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the plan.
In the window.
In
It was
the
in
window,
the front
yeah,
of the
yeah.
window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's obviously down the line. Or if you take Mahindra's suggestion, it's actually a reno of a
Yeah.
building, which is also an interesting kind of challenge. So I think that's lots of good questions and feedback.
Yeah.
It's really helpful for you. So thanks very much, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thank you.